there, I'm Upasna. I am a digital experience engineer. I have designed digital products, and this is my first time ever being introduced to computational design, 3D modeling, and fabrication. So here's the thing. I've always been on the lookout for the best phone stand that affords support for our gadgets. For that, I've always remained curious about the type of phone stand people use. I was more than excited to build one that I can put into use. My explorations began with a model that I found on the internet, which was very similar to the phone stand that I use, and 3D printed it so that I can use for my Kindle. Over the weeks, I was introduced to tools like Rhino and Grasshopper by our professor, and even our amazing makerspace with awesome design specialists who always push us and give great advice. One such great advice for someone starting out: start with a pen and paper. That's what I did. I decided to start with a stand to hold that pen. I started with a pyramid and used a cylinder to create a nested geometry. I wanted the cylindrical opening to be tapered, so in my next attempt, I deep-prepped the pyramid to get a list of its faces and selected the bottom and top to calculate their area and find the center to create a circle with different radius. I then lofted those circles, capped them to create a solid, and used the solid difference to achieve a pen stand with a tapered hold. Once I had it printed, I was more confident to take a stab at the file our professor made and make adjustments to my liking. I was curious what my professor had originally imagined the phone stand to be used for, so I asked him. It was great to hear his answer that although it was intended for a phone stand, people use it as a paperweight and even a pen holder. Sticking with some learning that I had, I wanted to create a honeycomb structure, which I learned is called a geodesic structure that uses a mesh. For that, I offset the outer circle, split it to create a mesh, and extracted the face boundaries. I grafted and simplified it and then exploded for each vertex of the hexagon. The hexagon took the shape of the sphere, so I used plane fit to make it planar instead of scalar. I used this with the average of the vertices for the center and scaled it to a factor of 7. I again scaled it down to fit the inner circle, lofted them, and capped them together to create individual hexagonal tubes that would pierce into the original phone stand. Along the way, I had a lot of iterations, Google searches, and asking people, how can I do this or that? I pushed myself to learn from everyone, so I believe I've taken up axolotl level from my starting point for someone who was introduced to Rhino and Grasshopper, even 3D printing, just 2 weeks back.